All right, y'all. This is a call to action, and the task is simple. I just want to hear your 2 cents on how, when, or where you listen to this podcast. But no matter where you choose to listen, we appreciate you for rocking with us. This was not a paid advertisement for the Cali Brick Clique, just a little something I was interested in finding out.
What with the Bricks Cascade? Doc snuck up on me, man. And I heard all I heard was the Lego man. Well, like, who's that? This papa standing over there just.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 74 of Cali Brick Clique. And right before we get into introductions, remember you can find this episode and all previous episodes on Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you find your podcast. And don't forget to comment below. Subscribe if you're not. I mean, there's a lot of you who aren't. But either way, like always, we have Claire the Plastic Architect.
Hello.
We got Ninja.
Oh, yeah.
Got that right. And today, for this episode, we have Iceberg Bricks, or Mel, one of the original Lego masters in the United States. How's it going, bro?
Hey, what's going down? What's going down? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining. So we're gonna dive into him pretty heavily in a little bit, but before that, how's everybody's week gone?
Pretty good so far, yeah.
We are filming this pretty late, and so I know there's a
Late
week
into the
since we
week.
last spoke. Almost 2 weeks. Almost.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah, right. Because last time we filmed on Monday, so we had quite some time before we spoke to each other. So a lot has gone down. There are a lot of leaks. Star Wars Celebration, right? That's going on right now.
That's going on as we speak. Yeah. So new show with Jude Law. Do you see that?
I have
I
not.
heard about this. I didn't see anything about it.
I have a link in my stories if you want to see it. And then there's also they like hinted and said when the Indiana Jones movie is going to come out next year.
Oh, okay.
So we're getting Indiana Jones sets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Theoretically.
When is it taking place? Do we know?
What are you talking about? Star Wars?
No. Indiana Jones. Like, could you tell like time period? Is it a continuation from the last?
I didn't really like
movie?
dive into it. I didn't really dive into it too much. But I've been like kind of seeing stuff like as I've been like working. But like I've just been like, checking my phone regularly of like my Disney like influencers that I follow. And so like they're there and they're like reposting it. So I'm just like seeing like kind of headlines and stuff, and I'm excited.
I know some people are like live streaming some of the stuff that's going on. I didn't get to watch any of it. I was pretty much working the entire day. But I know there was a new leak, right? There was some leaks coming out, but there's some leaks everywhere, like before Lego Con. So I hope it doesn't ruin that.
Thing I didn't think about that.
Ryan's trying to do at Chicago.
So I just watched. I was like getting out of the shower and stuff, and I was watching. So I don't usually watch Ryan's content. I've said this before, and I used to watch it, but then like it like came on next. I was like getting ready and stuff, so like I didn't like edit my phone. It came on after another video that I was watching, and it was his most recent Ask M&R, I think, and he was like, saying like he has good expectations for LegoCon this year because LegoCon last year was so cringy or whatever and so eye-rolly. And not a single thing did he say was the fact that this event is like geared towards kids and families with kids, and Lego has made that really clear, and it seems like there's like a big chunk of our community that's like completely in denial that that's the case.
Agreed.
And like the expectations, I just don't know. Like, what is like? There's nothing wrong with this event. Like, who cares if stuff gets leaked? Like, we already know everything that's. I don't understand. Like, why is that so upsetting?
That things are going to be. Well, I mean, I guess is Lego's putting so much emphasis on LegoCon that you would feel that they would acknowledge the adult fandom.
What do you
or,
mean by like
fandom?
so much emphasis? Like they've just like posted a couple things like on their social media.
Well, last year I feel like they pushed it really hard. So we also set ourselves up for failure on that one too, thinking that they were going to release something cool. So like,
but last year they said this is for kids and families with kids. Like I don't like what it's like. Literally, they're like telling you the sky is blue, and you're like upset that it's not black. Like I don't understand.
I wasn't upset.
Yeah. But like, no, not you, but there's like so many people that are that upset.
Generally.
And it's like, and like, I can't even, like, it's not even like, oh, let me just like see from someone else's perspective. No, it's, you are having selective hearing. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
Anyway,
agreed.
sorry, Mel. Hi, Mel. How are you doing? It's so nice to see you.
I dig it.
We're in
I dig
debate
it.
mode
I
already.
dig it. I dig
No,
it.
but I agree. Like I feel like we have set ourselves up for failure for that one. Like I think we think Lego really should be catering to just AFOLs, and we forget that Lego's primary audience is not us. Yes, they're doing this whole adult, for adult line and all that kind of stuff. That's cool. That's a beginning of acknowledgement for this part of the fandom, but ultimately it's not the whole thing. So like, they also acknowledged that part too, and I think we all forgot that in the beginning of the LegoCon, because some of our friends were on there. We saw some other people around the world
but that
were
was like
adults.
for kids though, still, and it was like, hey kids, look, you can be adults too and enjoy Lego, and it's okay. And Tricky Bricks also said that in a bunch of like streams before they went on, like as like a heads up. Like Flynn and Richard were like very clear about what that was. And then on top of it all, I'm sorry, like it's like being in a bad relationship, and it's like you're like thinking that it's like about you and like wanting approval or like whatever it is, and like not getting it, and like just like never giving up, and it's just like just move on, move on and enjoy the hobby. It's like,
I mean, kind of, it's like, entertainment is always, what have you done for me lately? Those sets that you gave me a month ago were cool, but what have you done for me now?
Yeah, we need more.
I think that's this thing here, like, when you get a lot of AFOLs, hey, what can you do for me today? That was cool yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's what you're running into.
Do you think it's because like people, there's like this really gray area between, I'm like just thinking about Shy editing my like blank spaces out as I talk, but
I've been actually doing pretty well. I'm not doing anything.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Do you think that there's this like really fine line, really gray area between a customer service company and a retail company? And it's like people are really confused that like, even though Lego has excellent customer service and it's, you pick up the phone, you call, you get a wonderful person, it's just incomparable to like calling your like electric company or, going to the DMV. Like these are things like, it's just a different experience. And so that maybe like the fandom, especially the adult fandom, thinks that like Lego is set up for them as the consumer rather than as like, it's not if people are going to buy it, they're going to make it. And if they're not going to buy it, they're not going to make it. And sometimes like there's like hits and misses. And I think, I think there's a lot of really smart, really totally aware adults that are in this community that consciously choose to like not listen to rationale because this is their fandom. And it's like almost like fun as well. And I that maybe I can empathize with that. That is like, it's like, this is your space to like act like a moron. And it's like, it's totally okay. And that's fine. That's totally, it's like definitely a safe, if you think about it, it's definitely the safest way of like acting a fool, like relatively speaking, it's better than like drunk driving or like all sorts of awful things that you could do. If you're going to be like an idiot about your expectations with like what Lego is providing for you, then sure, let this be the space for that,
Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever been to like an IHOP or like a restaurant and you sat down and like the waiter took too long to get to you to even ask you for your drink, and then you get like in a real pissy mood, right?
Yeah, I love that IHOP was like your go-to.
IHOP is like slop. Like that's like the that's where if you want some bad customer service, go to IHOP.
Or like Denny's or something. Yeah.
I'm probably get sued for that, but I've never met a person that said, "Hey, look, I had a great time at IHOP. It was just everything great. The eggs that were frying hard in the back, they were great. Like they went down real smooth. I never met anybody like that. But like if the waiter takes too long to get to you just for drinks, right? Like, like for instance, I went to Cheesecake Factory, right? Mm-hmm. And the waiter sat us down at the table. There's nothing on the table. There's no silverware. There's no napkins. There's nothing. So by the time we got our food and everything, I'm playing the game. Hey, can you come over here? Can you taste the chicken? Taste this chicken and rice for me. He goes, what's wrong with it? No, can you just taste the chicken and rice? No, is it too cold? No. Is it too hot? No. Can you taste it? Okay, great. Where's the fork? Aha. I don't have a fork. I don't have any of that. So at that point, if you're sitting down at the table as a customer and a paying customer, I want what I want and I want it now. Like, and I think that's what it is. It's that sense of entitlement. If I'm paying that money and I don't know the facts on it, I don't. But like, I think the majority of the buyers that Lego has, especially in the US, are AFOLs because they're the ones flashing the money and getting to the first in the line. Like for instance, just yesterday when the sets came out, AFOLs in the line. No kids. Kids are in school. AFOLs are in the line, buying all the new sets off the shelf. So, I think that's where you said like acting a fool. I'm gonna act a fool because I just spent $1,000 in this joint, and right to me, my $1,000, I own this place, so I'm gonna act a fool up in here. And it is wrong. It is. It's absolutely wrong because it's for everybody, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a misconception. Like if you ask anybody who's like worked in a Lego store, they'll tell you it's kids. Kids are the majority. It's parents buying stuff for kids. That's their big demographic, and that's also their mission statement is to get kids playing. And so it's like asking a company, even though they say things like everyone can play, everyone is this and that. It's like it's spreading education and through thoughtful play for children. Like that's their goal. And
I agree with that. Like first hand experience working at a Lego store. Like Mel, you and I, we finally met at a Lego store.
I was trying to lie to my man. He wasn't black.
We're gonna tell that story in a second. But yes, like on days of new releases and stuff like that, we get like hard hits of the adult fan sales. Like that's heavy. Like maybe 1 or 2 days for like 6 hours total. All sales adults. Yeah, but the other 5 days, the other 28 days of the month, primarily it's kids and families primarily. And we also forget that Target sales, Walmart sales, primarily families and kids and stuff like that. You'll see the adult. I mean, every time I go to a Lego Owl, it's very rare that I find another AFOL. You know what I mean? I usually see kids and families and stuff like that. And I'm the weird one filling up CMS. You know what I mean? Like that's normally what I see. So yeah, I agree with Claire that we have a misconception showing like with understanding that Lego, yes, they are acknowledging us. Cool, but primarily we're not their primary focus.
Well, yeah, and I think what we've done is like we've created an echo chamber for ourselves. Do you know what I mean? It's like we talk to each other, we hype each other up. Our friends are in this community. We have a lot of similar opinions on these things, and so it's like easy to like get caught up in it, And I think, and I'm with you. I am like customer service. Like I am very critical of it, and if I like pay extra on like an airline flight to like have a certain level of service, and if I don't get it, like that's really frustrating, and it's you get really upset. And or when you pay for like different tier of hotels, you expect a different tier of service, and which is why like I get total tangent. I think the Disney hotels are ridiculous because they're the same price as like 4 or 5 star hotels, and they're kind of dingy, and like you don't actually get additional because you're close to the parks, like whatever, rent an Airbnb for like a few, or not, like it doesn't matter. My point is like there's a lot of things that are like inflated and are perceived value. And the thing is like Lego as a product, as a brick building product, it is still the best out there. And so it has like an advantage for being a better product. It has excellent customer service. It's given us this false facade of caring about us in terms of like the 18 plus line and AFOL recognition days and like supporting lugs, which is very much like a small time thing to do. But it's still like a big company, and we need to respect that, because I think for a big company to exist and to expand, at the end of the day, not to overuse saying at the end of the day, but we want it to do well. The more that Lego does, the more product they do for us, like the more sets hit the shelves, like, and that's what we want, is like, we want more, right? Isn't that what the consumer wants more of? Yeah, maybe they can like argue that they want cheaper things or whatever, but I guess that's maybe like what I'm confused about. Like wanting Lego to do well means that we get more product as a consumer.
And then we're all complaining because too much stuff's been released the past year that we can't keep up.
Oh no, you have too much choice, like what?
No, like, there's no winning with the AFOL. Like, look,
like it feels like that.
I think Sean said it best in the assembly required podcast right before this. Like, if the fans want something and it goes with what's already planned with Lego, they're gonna do it, right? So like they already have a plan for a 90th anniversary set, right? What the plan is for what set it is, they're gonna, that's our choice. So they think we're gonna want these sets, and based on the results of whatever all the castle stuff, they made a castle. But they also noticed that, well, space could probably do well, so they're creating 2 more sets. Right? They're creating the space set and they're creating another castle set.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
were
able
they
to make
planning-
whatever sells.
Were they planning on doing that? Is that because like the vote was like just like a blowout? Like, and like, like the Bricklink designer program, for example, like the first round sold out. So they're like, oh, like maybe we should like make more of these sets. And I say this confidently and I don't know it, but it seems to me that like even the AFOL designer program, that can't be like the most profitable thing for Lego. Like unless a set goes to Target and Walmart, like and Amazon, I feel like that's their bread and butter, and everything else is like supporting smaller communities of fandom.
That's about to happen with the Bricklink designer program.
I saw that there is a Target one.
About to happen. They about to send it to Target in all the places.
Which is super interesting. And I'm like, okay, well, I wonder, they're like, okay, we got to make more money maybe to like support this like round 4 next time or something, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the, I don't even know if they're related. Like if the Bricklink designer program for Target is related to the ones that if the ideas program for Target is related to the Bricklink one. But yeah, I think these are like, there's so many things that they're doing for the adult fandom that's really exciting. And it seems like there's more and more every year, at least from my perspective.
No, I agree. I think it's the most we've ever done, or Lego's ever done for the adult fandom. Like, they first off the acknowledgement that it exists, and then doing the whole everything, the black background, everybody flipped out about. Now everybody kind of accepted at this point. But like doing the Bricklink designer program, doing these like vintage set. Like, did we already forget that Lego's already done 2 vintage sets, kind of? Like homages to it, like the blacksmith shop. That's a
right. And then targeting like specific sets for specific demographics, like doing that like NES set, doing Friends, doing
Voltron.
doing these like throwback sets for specific age groups, which is like really exciting. I don't know. It's really interesting because like we don't have a Kevin Hinkle anymore, right? We don't have a Touch Point. We don't have a person. There's no one that's like hired by Lego that's specifically like immersed in the community, or at least it doesn't feel that way. If it is, it's like a secret spy, or like, which is what they were talking about on that podcast, which Shy and I watched, in case, just to give some context. Shy and I were watching Brixine and Craigster's podcast, what's it called again?
Some assembly required.
Some assembly required, and they have people that come on like live. It's like they do it live. Yeah, and it's
good.
I've never had to. I've like always like had stuff that I couldn't watch. I finally got in today, and like they were talking about actually what we're talking about now, which is probably why it's like on the tip of our tongue, even though we haven't gotten to like our meat of the thing. But I feel like there is a good transition point here. And there are these like representatives of the AFOL community that have this tie to Lego. And there's obviously like LAN and like the RFLM. And then like, would you say that a Lego master has a tie like that? Do you find yourself as a representation of the AFOL community that has like an arms that, or maybe had a touch point with Lego? Or was it just like going to summer camp and having a good time? Like what? You know what I mean? Like I'm curious, like, do you feel like you are a spokesperson for the AFOL community?
I don't. And here's why. Like, there are 2 different identities. Like there's Lego Masters, which is owned by Emmett All Shine. And, which honestly, this might come off rash. I ain't got nothing against the production company at all, but they're in the business of making great TV, not Lego.
It's Hollywood. So, it's Hollywood. Yeah.
So, the one doesn't have anything to do with the other. When my tenure in the first season, I was trying to represent, the AFOL community, but I don't think I don't know. I can't say that because there was some AFOLs that were rooting for me, but I think that everybody had their own pick at the time. But I didn't feel that pressure from the AFOL community saying, "Hey, look, this guy's representing us." So I don't, and I don't even feel closer to the land because just recently I tried to apply because I figured at a certain point my face was out there and they would reach out to me and say, "Hey, look, apply." Go mass apply here and we'll let you in. Happen either. I don't, I'm kind of, to tell you the truth, I'm like lost in the sauce, so I'm just shuffled, and shuffled in the deck at this point. And that's how I feel. So I don't feel like I represent any of the two. So,
I mean, you're a Lego master. You should be proud of that.
I am.
You should be. I mean, but let's start from the beginning there. Let's start from the beginning. So how did that process start?
I was just a fan of Lego Masters from the UK down to the Australia, and I was into the second season. I think the second season. No, it was the second season was getting ready to start, and that's when the announcement for us came out. And so at that point, I was already friends with BX or Jermaine, and I told him, I said, "Dude, look, I'm gonna apply for the show." He didn't know nothing about it. So I'm gonna apply for the show. It's got a lot to do with Lego. They would need a partner. Here's the link. Load your video up. We're going in. And like maybe a week later, I got this call from Hollywood, and like, if your name ain't listed on the call list when you called me, I'm not answering. And so I sent it right to voicemail. And I'm talking to BX. He's like, "Man, you get any calls?" I said, "Nah, man." I'm like, "Nah, I did." I'm like, "Nah, man, I ain't get nothing." And he's like, "Oh, all right." I said, "Man, somebody called from some California number, man, but that's probably spam." He said, "No, well, let's treat it like it's not spam. Go ahead and open up the voicemail, see who it is." And it was, right. So in the process, you get scheduled to do a bunch of Zoom calls, right? There's so many Zoom calls. There's Zoom calls got Zoom calls. And it's like, you're waiting in the Zoom call to get to the Zoom call. And so
that's crazy.
it was, man. It was ridiculous. And then so, you end up on a 4-hour Zoom call with one of the casting producers, and they're just trying to fill you out, ask you questions, just trying to make sure you're real and not a poser, right? And it was simple as this, for me not to say this, then I would be doing everybody injustice. We live in a world where people are different colors. And so, and the first thing that she said was like, "Are y'all too serious?" I was like, "Serious about what?" She was like, "About Lego." I'm like, look around my room here. Like, and so she's like, "Nah, I'm asking that." She said, "Because I just interviewed 200 people already. They're all white. Y'all the first Black 2 people, that I interviewed." And she was like, "You know what? You're going up to the top because you're checking a whole bunch of boxes for us." And so they pushed us forward. And not to say that like they gave us the way. I mean, we worked. Like Jermaine came all the way down here for one of our, like you have a 2-hour build that you have to do with your partner right now. And so Jermaine lives up in Bronx at this time, and I'm in Maryland. So he drives down so we can tape our 2-hour, build, and we build something that represents the team. Man, look, we built something so silly. And all we did was we stacked a bunch of buildings with a story, right? And in the story, it was this inner city kid that was living in poverty or whatever. He was going to school, get jumped by bullies in school. So he slides in. Remember that time, like everybody was beating everybody up for over a Popeye's chicken sandwich. So he eats the Popeye chicken sandwich. We made a Popeyes. He eats the Popeye chicken sandwich. He come out with superpowers, and he's saving the world, cleaning up the city, man. And that was our story. We had it all in the top, like a tier story build, right? And it was pretty cool. And we built that in 2 hours. We bantered a little bit. He's from New York. I'm from Jersey. So you got that, that corner street talk. And I think that's what got us over the top. And they invited us to Hollywood, for the final audition, where they done dwindled it down to about 60 teams at this point. And so, we're staying at an undisclosed location at the airport. And so we, our first, like you got two, like there's two build competitions right then and there on the same day. And I think the first one was probably about like 3 hours. And then the second one was another 3. And so but you had to somehow, like the first thing you built was like, something that represent you and your team again. And then the second thing you built had to incorporate a low spear, whatever. So me and Jermaine, we're in there, we're building. And I stopped to take a look around. I look to my right, there's Boone and Mark going away, and they're building this big giant, like a brick head that was made of Boone, basically like a Boone brick head. It was like a big SpongeBob big. It was huge. And I'm sitting there. I look over to stop to look at them. Amy and Tyler are 2 tables ahead of me. Sam and his partner are like off to the right somewhere. And you're looking at people because certain people are standing out from their builds. And so after the first round, we stopped, we looked around a little bit, and I said to Jermaine, I said, my dude, thanks for this experience, but I know we ain't going no further than that. I said, and he like, yeah. I said, I'm looking around, and these people are serious about the craft, man. And you know what? I can respect that. I'm serious about the craft, but back then, I've probably been only building for 3 years or something like that. So I'm still novice, right? And Jermaine been building his whole entire life. So I'm riding the horse's back into the sunset, man. And so because I'm doing whatever this dude say do, because he's been building way longer than I have. And so we look around, and that's the reality of it. I'm like, all right, cool. So they stop us to go to the back to talk, do our interview to see how we do in front of the camera. Man, this big, detective light is in your face and it's shining. Yeah, I'm sweating. I ain't never sweat before, man. I'm in there just sweating. Like, oh my God, like, it's like y'all turn the air off in here. And so it's just, they seen us banter back and forth a bit, and they talk and stuff like that. And then we're out. We get to the second challenge, and looking around, awesome stuff, man. It's just great looking stuff. And so I tell the talent handler at the time, I say, hey, look, thanks for inviting us. We appreciate it. And she said, well, you two, shut the f up. It's like, you guys made it. Just go home and wait for a call. Right? Like, you gave us what we needed. Go home, wait for a call. All right. Like, just, So, and I say that, and I probably said a lot, but I say that because, like, not to jump ahead, but at the end of that show, man, I got so many critics came out the woodworks, bro. And you know what? Some of it was true and some of it wasn't. But in the end, from reality to the brick world, again, it's Emerald Shine who owns Lego Masters. They're looking to get that hardware at the end of the season, And I said, like, you heard me say before, your avid builder, your best builder that we got here in the United States, don't talk to people. They don't, and so you'll never see them on TV because they just ain't a people person. And so, which is sad, because you want to see the best, right?
Yeah, they're like in their basement, and like maybe we'll see them at a convention, and that's it. Like, but I know, I just like, there's definitely like a secret world of like unbelievable cities and like mocks and stuff out there, which is like kind of, it's like, it's like art that's like not in museums for people to see. It's like art in personal collections almost. It's like the same, like kind of, yeah, I've never really, you're totally right. Like, you're never going to see those, because it's like, it's a different product who goes on to Lego Masters than, that extreme insular person who's like doing those incredible builds. But
yeah, indeed. And and I think once the TV goer understands that, and I'm sure too, it's like, you sit at home and the first thing you say is, man, I could build something better than what that guy did. I should be on it. How many times I should be on there? Or, you watching Jeopardy. Oh, I know the answer. That guy's an imbecile, man. That guy, but I should be on Jeopardy. And you get on Jeopardy and you choke. But, it's it's a lot of, let me tell you, it's a lot of personality. Me and Jermaine, and let me tell you, Jermaine isn't, even though he's from New York and he has that New York swagger, he wasn't as outgoing or like open his mouth as much. I had to antagonize him to get him to open up because he wasn't. And I said, man, the only way I think we're gonna get on here is if we have a New York, New Jersey conversation. And he like, what? And I started antagonizing him, and it just like I just hit the right chord. And whatever it was, it worked because they loved it. They wanted that street corner talk, and we were back and forth. And of course, you see me get into it with Aaron on the show, and then like his building collapsed and all that, and then the camera sticking in my face.
All right, let's touch on that. So, Portrayal. I know I was following along with like the first season of Lego Masters when it was airing. I personally have a little vendetta against the show, but that's the conversation for another time. But you also weren't happy when it came to specific moments of your own portrayal. Mm-hmm. Like you were very vocal about that. Do you want to elaborate or
explain? There were certain things that and I think that at one point they were trying to portray us as the team that almost make it but never really do. Like you almost make it to the top 2 but you never really do, and we're just going to continue to string you along like that. And which at a certain point they're trying to find a story that they think that an audience can relate to, so they can get good TV, good ratings and stuff, right? And so they're trying to fill different teams out. And at first it seemed like they were trying to pin us up against Boone and Mark, but we were too chum. We were real close with Boone and Mark. Like we eat like every day after the show was aired. We were too chummy with them. And then they tried to pin us up against somebody else before it was somebody else before it was Tyler and Amy. So they tried to, they had us in the mix with Tyler and Amy for a little bit. And I didn't like the movie mashup where the babies, they basically said, well, they had a baby first, you copy their baby. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. And in fact, I didn't even know they had a baby until after the thing was over, and he took the baby and stuck it on top of the refrigerator. So I was like, oh. Hey. I was like, oh, this is not going to go out. This ain't going well. So, so they said that they were trying to portray that. And here's how it happened. You have table A, table B, there was us, and then there was Tyler. So then you had Amy and Jamie going down each table from table A, table B, then us. They give us our verdict first, and then Tyler and Amy. So while they're at our table, they're on it. They wanted to see us build a little bit smaller with detail and everything like that, and all that was coming out. And you hear your boy Jamie say, "This is definitely top 2 material. This is what we wanted from you. We was trying to push you, and you guys delivered." I'm looking at Jermaine looking at me. I'm like, this is where we want to be. Finally, give me top 2 once and I'm good. That's my experience. Give me top 2 once and I'm good. I don't need to win the whole thing. And then they went to Tyler and Amy, and the producers stopped them, said something. You could see them, talking to producers in their ear. Amy comes back. You hear Jamie says, "Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not going over. I'm not doing that." Amy comes back and she talks about like originality. And that's the take that you saw where she's talking about originality. Amy and Tyler had a baby first, and then out comes the baby. Never mind you that this is a movie mashup. So that means you get one genre on the first half of it. There's a twist. So now your genre belongs to me and his genre belongs to you. And we're mashing this thing up. So, I'm copying babies. And that don't sit well with me, especially when I had a badge sitting right here. Yeah. And I'm like, to me, I'm like,
it was during that time when everyone was pretty much bashing on cops all everywhere, and your integrity was checked, and that really bothered you. I remember seeing that.
Indeed, it did, because I had not only that, I had kids looking at me. I'm not just a patrol officer. I'm a police officer in a community. I'm a community police officer. I'm in the community service. You know, I'm that officer that comes to your classroom and teach you dare. So, you know, I got little kids that are watching that show, and it's like, you know, so I'm mad. I'm so hot that at the end of that take, I tell Jermaine, I'm not saying anything else to these producers. Anything that they ask me to do, like mix it up with somebody, I'm not giving that to them. I said, when we get back to the room, we got to have a talk. And we did. I said, we just going to work on us. I said, it's just me and you. I said, whatever they ask us, they come by the table, I'm not talking to them. I said, you can talk to them, but I ain't saying a word no more. I said, you calling me a Cheeto on national TV? Oh yeah, I was hot. And I had the producer try to chase me down. I said, nah, we done, man. We done. I'm done. Whatever you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. I'm through playing this game with you. And so the next episode, which was the Mega Cities, they came by the table a couple of times and asked me and Jermaine to, you know, stop. You know, because they stop you. And here's the typical day on Lego Masters is that you get into your build, and then you got, you know, Will come by, check in with you just to see what you're building. You'll have Amy and Jamie come by, get an update of what you're building. The producers will come by and ask you what you're building. And then they'll come by again and ask you about, you know, the Amy and Jamie's verdict, or what do you think that Will said? And then they'll come by again because you said something stupid to your partner and want to know what's the problem and stuff. So they'll take that's at least an hour, a true hour off your bill after all the stops. And so they came by, and your boy wasn't saying, I wasn't saying nothing. They was like, hey, can you stop and go behind the table? I look at Jermaine look at me, we continue building. And we just wasn't cooperating with them. We just wasn't. And it was bad though, because like, you know, the Mel Brown then didn't understand TV. I didn't. Not a bit. You know, I think sitting out and watching it and stuff like that and understanding the concept of TV, now I understand. So I probably wouldn't have held that grudge that I did at that point. Because I'm thinking back then, I'm thinking as an AFOL, don't mess with me and my build. I'm trying to stay on task. Don't mess with me, you know. I'm thinking, you know, as an AFOL, and so then they get Will to try to come over and antagonize me. It's not working. So then Will sparks up a fight with Aaron, and so he's, you know, he says something to me. I'm looking at him. He says something to Aaron and try to get under Aaron's. Oh, what do you think, Mel? You know, Mel's, you know, oh, they definitely got color or this and that. And so he gets this young guy to start talking trash. And to me, man, I'm from Jersey City, New Jersey, man. No. You ain't gonna, I'm the king of trash talking. Like, you know, you don't talk no trash to me. I look at Jermaine just was like, go ahead, man. It was like, just go ahead. So me and Aaron are mixing it up, man. He's saying some stuff about the, you know, the brick, and you know, I'm saying some stuff about the brick, and he's saying some stuff about, you know, having the brick, and, you know, because they poker faced him to give that brick up, man. Because what they put out was awesome. That in that movie mashup, but they poker faced him, you know, threatening to put him in the bottom, and he coughed that brick up. And so, you know, I played off of that, and, you know, and mentioned that, and then I said something like, "Hey, man, just get your build to the podium in one piece."
Ooh.
And, you know, they go to roll that baby over, and they hit that one Lego that's on the floor, and that thing collapsed. It folded right up. And I'm like, you know, I got 7 cameras in my face. 7. They just all just zipping right over. And here come Will. I know you said that his build would fall. No, I never said that. I didn't say that. I said, I didn't say that. But, you know, at that point, you know, I look pretty bad, you know, and, you know, honestly, I would sit at home looking at me saying, yeah, that guy is an asshole. Like, you know, that guy, you know, that guy, well, if I ever see that guy on the street, I would want to punch him in the chin. You know, that's how I would be, you know? So, you know, did America have a right to do that? Yeah. Cause I would feel that way. But it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like that, but it made great TV. So that's why I said, you know, back then, yeah, I was furious because I was thinking as an AFOL, I didn't understand TV. You know, I didn't understand the end product. I didn't understand any of that. And then when they chopped it up, you know, it looked real bad. It looked real bad. But yeah, I was pretty hot and I was pretty vocal because I was like, man, I didn't sign up to be the bad guy. I didn't want to be the bad guy. Who wants to be the bad guy? I'm on the show and I want to be the bad guy. Nah, things don't always end up well with the bad guy. Watch Training Day, right?
Nice.
It don't end up that way. So I didn't want to be the bad guy, and here's the thing. I'm a cop. I'm the good guy. Like, I'm supposed to be the good guy. And,
I like the reference to Training Day with all that.
Right. I don't want to be Alonzo, man. I don't. I don't want to be Alonzo. I don't. I guess I was Alonzo.
Wow. I didn't know that extra stuff, but I did. I remember you talking about a lot of that, and you just were livid. And it sounded, by the way, like when it was happening, like you knew it was going to come. Let's rewind a little bit and let's bring that back to here. You were looking around and you saw everyone's build, and you were like, I'm not going to be in this place, right?
Yeah.
So the producers were probably already looking around, being like, you know what? One of these three is going to be the winner. Right. One of these three, like these are top three right here.
Right.
So do you feel like in your whole process, they already knew who was going to win from the very beginning?
Yeah, I think so too. And here's the thing with that. Wait, let me close my door. Wait, hold on a second. I'm sorry.
That's a nice chair.
Yeah. I think and here's it is. And it's like, it's what's the most compelling story you can tell? Right. What, you got, a cop and his grandson, and maybe his buddy who's a phone tech guy. You got, two cosplay chicks who are like, but they're teeny boppers. So we're not really going to put their families in it. You got two, minister people, and they're young, but we're going to make them look like Golden Girls. So, you got two AFOLs. You got two AFOLs who look like lumberjacks, and they, so you got them, they can build, and then you got a newlywed, who's having a baby. What's the most compelling story that what would be? We got $100,000 on the line. Who you think benefit the most? And that comes into play to make a writing, like writers write TV, right? You got to write that good story. And so I think that, like you could say, like, walking in that room, whoever get out of those three, whoever get picked, out of those three to go on, that's probably going to be your final three, like, most likely predominant, right? It's just hard to say no to, because they're making these great creations. And then from there, you build what's called fluff or smoke and screen. We're going to get some teams that is going to give us some distractions, give us good TV. And then you have what's called that's when the producers went ahead and they started merging peoples to make teams, right? And then season 2, that's all they basically did was, all right, we're gonna merge these two people, we're gonna merge them because it's working great. And so you got the two producer teams that they made up. And so of course they're gonna favor those.
Which teams were they?
It was I want to say they merged two people together. So they merged Aaron and Christian, and then they merged Sam and Jessica. Now, Jessica and Aaron were supposed to be on the team, but it didn't work out. And so they went down to Virginia and they found Christian, because Christian was down in Virginia Brick Fair. And they figure, all right, this works a little bit better. You got Superman and Clark Kent, and at that point, let me tell you, they look like teenagers, and that's what you needed. They weren't teenagers, but they look like teenagers, and that's what that was the team that you needed. And then you merged the artists, which was Jessica and Sam, because Sam was with his life partner. He auditioned with his life partner. They told Sam to hold back, and then that's where he met Jessica.
And then you saw them go to the top 3.
Yeah.
You saw that, right?
Yeah. And see, and it's a lot of stuff that I could say, like, this person probably should have left at this person because this didn't work or this violated that. but I would look salty. I would look salty.
Yeah, you were salty. I remember when you left. You told me when you left.
I was a lot of salty back then. But then you wait around 2 years and you watch the other games that they play on the other shows and stuff like that, and you see it, and it's funny because I talked to season 2, and they're like I can't believe that happened. Well, if you look at season 1, it happened. Like it happened. It did.
Like, are you saying like people are in disbelief of the manipulation that goes on with the production crew, like how they're producing a show, and how like you don't have control of like how the public sees you? Like, why are you saying season 2 people were surprised by that? Is it what you're saying?
I think they, for lack of a better term, is drink the Kool-Aid, right? You want to believe in something. You want to believe that this is a real competition. You do. But it's not. And they tell you it's a show about a competition.
Yeah, there's no way.
I didn't say that. They tell you that. They say it's a show about a competition.
There's no competition. I have competed in so many different things: sports, robotics, debate, like art, like so many architecture. Like there's so many different competitions. None of them are interesting from like a Hollywood perspective. So like clearly something additive needs to be thrown in there, to throw a wrench in it. And
if you ever want to get the fairy dust out of a TV show and you want to know if it's for real, find out about the production company and who's paying the bill. Plan B is paying the bill, right? Plan B only invests in scripted TV.
Yeah. There's also this really good, it's from years ago and it's unrelated, but it was, I can't remember the name of the show, but it was a show that was like, essentially, it wasn't spoofing, but it was like, it was basically the behind the scenes of like a show like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, and like just the level of manipulation and like intention, like it's different. Obviously that's not a family friendly show, but like that one, like just the drama and stuff was there, but like how producers would intentionally get people drunk, how they would keep them out really late, how they would do things like, which is almost like inhumane, like if you really think about it. And it's like, and granted, I don't think there was like this degree, but it was like really like just some manipulation with like editing and like kind of antagonizing people in a certain way. But like, man, so I was like just being a female on Instagram that does Lego, you get inundated with like Lego masters during like casting stuff. So I went with a friend of mine and we did like, we went through a couple rounds and we chose to back out because like they kept trying to form us into like they wanted to define us as something. And they were like, they had this idea of who we were, which was incorrect to who we fundamentally was as human beings. And they implanted that on us. And they were like, this is who you're going to be. This is the product that you're going to be. This is how you have to behave, which was like fundamentally against like who we already were. It was like, and so that in itself, I was like, if this process is already giving me bad vibes, there's no way I'm going to survive and be okay with the way that I'm portrayed on the internet.
Yeah, and it's the truth. I
in Hollywood,
I believe it because when we got flown out to Hollywood to do the show, they gave us what's called like your hero shots. So we spent the day down in downtown LA and with the producers, and we were on a corner street somewhere. And I guess the shooting producer at the time was like, all right, this is what I want you to do. He had me and Jermaine like shadow box the camera, and I'm sitting here like, you want us to shadow? Yeah, like a rap movie, or a rap movie. I said, okay, cool. I said, so you're gonna have 2 40-year-old dudes, like doing a rap movie? Oh, okay, like Jay-Z, right? Yeah. So we're shadow boxing, and I say to him while I'm shadow boxing, hey, the next shot they're gonna put me in my Class A police officer uniform. So I don't think this shot is gonna be real. I don't think you're gonna use this shot at all. Because I'm not a thug. I'm actually a professional. So,
and
he stopped. He thought about it and he stopped. And I'm like, what are we doing here? So I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And so
Read the room,
I
man.
believe what you said, because you're not the only one that thought that. Like, even like listening to Richard and Flynn, they wanted Richard and Flynn to be more feminine. Nah, Richard and Flynn are husband and husband. Like they they are a group of regular guys. Ain't one flamboyant than the other. Character is flamboyant. Just because you're a homosexual male doesn't mean that you
have to act a certain way.
all this stuff. You're not going to do all that, because that's stereotyping, and that is not fair.
Yeah.
Wasn't fair
they were like, for me, it was like they're like, oh, like, like they're like, because like I have a successful career, they're like, you're a bad bitch. Say you're a bad bitch. And I was like, what? Like, I've never conducted myself in that scenario. And also, like, I saw down the timeline that like I could be like turned into a villain because I have like, like I'm not the nicest, like I'm not lovey-dovey and I'm not whatever. And I was like, oh my God, this would be such an easy like shtick to do. And then I was like, wait a second, like, yeah, it just, I think you have to have a certain kind of backbone and to go on a show like this, and like good for you and good for all of the Lego Masters and all of the people who've done it, and Flynn and Rich and everybody that we've talked to, like good for you guys, like to get on there and like be okay with it. And it seems like you're okay with it. You did mention like a very briefly at the beginning when we transitioned over to Lego Masters that you felt like you have been lost in the shuffle. And do you think that's because of Lego Masters, or do you think that's like because of like the space? And do you think like what do you think that's coming from?
I definitely think it's definitely the space, because here's the thing is that, you had that wonderful first season called Lego Masters. Now everybody wants to do it, right? Everybody. And for instance, I'm about to throw some shade. I am. So everybody wants to do it. So then, you see the Instagram start going off, right? And, everybody's building a lot more than what they were, right? Because now I need to audition to be on the show right now, and you got people that never Lego before, right? If you look at their Instagram, they never Lego before. Season 3, never Lego before, but they have half naked.
That's weird.
Themselves all over their Instagram. Now, all of a sudden,
I think it's because there's a lot of people in the AFOL community that said no. I think there's because they have approached a lot of us, and a lot of us have said no. And it's just like, we listened to what you guys said after the first season, and we're like, no way, like, no, why would we put ourselves through that? You know what I mean?
I get it, but it's a double-edged sword, because now you got this person that isn't truly an AFOL representing you. Like they're up there.
They're representing. That's a hard pill to swallow. I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. So outside Lego fandom, like, because remember, this is daytime television or the evening television.
Yeah, like the people that I know that watch this stuff aren't part of our community. It's really like it's getting people into it. So it's like people who walk in the Lego store, they're like, "Oh my God, so exciting!" Like, we watch Lego Masters and we want to like get Lego sets now. Or it's like it's my friends who I've known my whole life, and they've known I've loved Lego, but now they watch Lego Masters with their families. Like a lot of them do, and they love it. And they're like, so cool is that it's a show about you. And I'm like, shit, like maybe season 1, but like, but it's like, it's a little, and I'm like, we don't really build like on competition like that with like endless amount of bricks and, celebrities.
That's a lie. Let me tell you, that's a lie. Like, that's a lie. They'll tell you, like, you go on set. You go right on set. Let me tell you, you go right on set. They'll tell you, everything's available in the carousels right there. Anything on the wall you can't touch. Everything on the wall up here you can't touch. You can't go upstairs and get none of that either. That's not available either.
It's like the pab wall in the Lego store. How it's like half the pab wall is like fake, but you can only I mean that makes sense. No, but you know what I mean. Like most people don't have that kind of parts collection, but like still though you're right. Okay, I see. You're saying like these people are now the representative of.
They are. And like, here's the thing: is that you're gonna have a very young plastic architect, right, watching season 3, and they're gonna see a couple up there in Jersey. We call them posers, man.
Mhm.
and it's I don't rain on nobody's parade. Kudos to them because you made it. You beat the system. You made it. You're there, right? But your true AFOL is going to see right through that, right? And they they know real recognize real is where I'm from, and maybe that doesn't even matter, right? Maybe that doesn't matter because maybe the true AFOL doesn't care about that show, and they're preparing for the next convention, right? But you're gonna go to that convention, the true AFOL. Let me tell you, the AFOL, if you're listening, you're gonna go to this convention, and that couple is gonna be up there, and maybe your daughter or your son want a Lego Masters, autograph, and you're gonna meet that couple.
So like you can't get away from it is what you're saying.
No, it's a tough pill to swallow, right? Yeah, and I heard you try to swallow. It's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. But okay, so I'm gonna ask you like not a pleasant question. And do you think going on Lego Masters is like a free ticket to like Instagram fame or social media fame or anything like that? Like, are these people actually winning that are like getting on there? First of all, I don't know who we're talking about. I don't know who's on the latest season of Lego Masters. But I do know that there are people who are seeing like trending reels and things like that and probably are hopping on the bandwagon. I would imagine as such. And so I like there you've described an archetype that like I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have specific people in mind. But do you think this person that you've described and that you're probably thinking of, have they made it? Have they actually like do you think it's like, because people that go on to some of these like reality TV shows, if they have, I think, the capacity to be a social media influencer, then it does boost them. But if they don't have it, I don't think it does anything. And right. I think it's like a starting point, but I don't think it gets you the mass fame that I think people are thinking it might.
Look, here's the opportunity today. If this specific couple wanted to start a career in Hollywood, they just got their foot in the door because they have what's called an after action. Like I want to say an after action agent. So there's a person that sits at a desk and they have, your information because you were on the show. Now, say for instance, once the show airs, they're going to contact you to go to your local news company. What's that going to happen? That's going to pump your ratings up because now you're populating on TV a little bit more. So now there's more images on the internet for you. Like if you Google me, it's a lot of.
You done some of that. I'm about to say you did some of that.
If you Google me, you'll see a lot of images where I'm on TV, like at the local news station promoting Lego Masters, right? But not only that, here's the icing on the cake, and you can put the cherry on top after. They got a foot in the door to Hollywood because they got that person that's sitting at that desk, which is the after action agent. He might get a call from another TV network and say, "Hey, look, we need two wet behind the ear people that that is going to sign up for Survivor, or we got this new daytime talk show that we want to do, and we need that type of caliber talent. Do you got anybody in mind?" "Yeah, I sure do. I got you these two right here." And
has that happened with a single person that's gone on Lego Masters?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, it actually did.
Okay, it has. Okay,
and I'm gonna tell you, it did with season 1. Boom was able to do something else. And myself, Corey Sams, his brother, and was it BX and Manny?
Yeah,
it was Travis, Corey, me, Manny, and Jermaine. We did Cake Boss.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay, that's true. Okay, so you guys, and then I think Boone did that thing on Lego, right? That was really cool. Yeah. And then now
he won an award for it. So he won an award for it. So now
but I think
got a nice piece of silver.
But I think like the ultimate thing is that both Boone and there's another one, they're now designers in Billund, right?
Yeah.
But I don't.
That's the thing. I'm sure that Lego don't want to happen. Lego don't want to say, "Hey, look, to be a designer with us, you got to be on Lego Masters." They don't want that because. No,
I was gonna say I feel like that has nothing to do with Lego Masters. That has to do with just their pure skill and talent. If anything, I would imagine Lego Masters didn't help the situation.
No, and this is also just to retract on Boone. This is not. It wasn't his first time applying to be a Lego designer.
He applied a bunch of
9
times, and they told him no. Matter of fact, he applied. He applied right before he applied to the show. And he applied to be a designer. Went over there, interviewed everything. They told him no. And
Wow.
he said, I sat, we went to Brikx Cascade, and he told me that story. And he said he got to the final of Lego Masters and they lost. So, the girls are crying, family crying, everything like that. And he went home and sat home and was like, what's next? And he's thinking that he's got to go back to that elementary school. And his wife helped him to create a curriculum. And she said, look, here's the curriculum right here. You need to say these things here, make the videos, do the Lego lingo. I need you to be you. He says he rolls his summer camp, his building summer camp, Boom Build summer camp out in August. In September, at the end of September, he had $30,000 in his PayPal account. He said 1 year after that, he made his wife's salary. The wife walked away from the school. Him and his wife walked away from school full time, and they were running that camp.
Good for him.
And so, you're right. I'm gonna say that you're right. Yeah. You have to do something. You have to propel yourself after the stardom, right?
Yeah, like Boone is like a talented builder. He's like charismatic. They work their butt off. His wife supported him. You know what I mean? In more ways than one. It's like think about how many times he applied to it's not this like free ticket to ride. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I don't think and so I'm curious. It's like. I don't know. I haven't done the research. I haven't gone and looked at all the people who've been on Lego Masters and like what they're doing now, and it's like, I'm sure you have a better beat on it than I do, but like, it's just interesting. Like, why would you fake being good at Lego just to like get on TV? Like it doesn't, I'm
on TV and nobody can take it away from me because I'm on there. I'm on there and you know what?
But then you look like an idiot and then you look like an idiot forever. It's so stupid.
True, but however,
for the posers, I see what you're saying.
Now they got my information.
Yeah, we're talking about the posers.
Maybe another network want like I said, a talk TV show or something, or maybe one of the soap operas needs somebody of that caliber in there. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, your folder's going over to that network, and you get hired. And I bet it happens.
So it's almost like
I bet it happens though. After this season 3 years, I bet it happens.
Yeah, it's not. It's like totally a world that I know nothing about. You know what I mean? It's like networking in a way that I have no concept of. And it seems like it's like almost the total opposite. It's like imposter syndrome in a way that benefits you. Like, and it's really fascinating.
Hollywood.
Yeah, and it's about imaging. That's all it is.
No, and I understand. I know that Hollywood is like right place, right time, image, reaction, all that stuff. And it's like who you're around, who you're compared to, all of it. Right. And it's just so foreign, man. It sounds brutal.
And I'm gonna tell you, like, one story that I know, and this has nothing to really do with nothing, really, but and this is how old I am. Like, Ice-T was a up and coming rapper in LA, and he was the local rapper, right? So he spoke the local lingo, but however, his impression to being a rapper was the Furious Five. So what he do? He go and change and look like one of the Furious Five, and so none of the producers when he was performing for the producers was biting on that because I have New York rappers. I need something else, and he wasn't getting no burn behind it because they was like, nah, that's not the image we want. So then Def Jam happens to catch his home concert, right, and he's on there with his leather jacket. He's like the Ice-T that and he says to him, hey, look. This is what I was looking for. You gave me something else. And so I wasn't looking your way, but I need this type of Ice-T. And that's what I'm saying. Like your image is everything. You might not know nothing about nothing on Lego, but if you rocking a jean jacket and a halter top and, and you got a little Lego necklace around your neck and you up there shining, you made it.
Some dots.
You in there. You made it. And I'm sorry to break it to you, but you made it. Like
I feel like you described like a very basic.
You can't get mad at me. It's the truth. You made it.
Yeah. It's so funny. I just I totally don't think that. I guess that's making it for some people, man. I think that's like bottom of the barrel though. Like if like faking it until you get into a situation like that just feels so weird.
It's true, but here's the flip side of that is that all of us will sit at home and watch this show because we want laughs and kicks. And you know what? That couple's gonna give us some laughs and some kicks every moment to the point. And here's how real every moment to the point they get voted off. You're gonna laugh. And you're gonna say, I told you so. And you know what? You're gonna watch it again. And at that point, that production company has done their job because you watched it and you probably got it on replay again and you're going to watch it again to laugh. And at the end of the season, they're collecting the hardware. That's what it's about, entertainment.
You got the media too.
I mean, to be fair, I know that there are still some, I know Nick from Brick and Nick from Twitch, he's on there, and that guy's a legitimate builder. And
hands down. And if I was to make a prediction, I don't know nothing about nothing because they don't tell me nothing. But I pick Nick to win it.
Because he has most raw talent.
I see what everybody see what Nick does. Nick builds, to his he'll sit up there on Twitch and he'll ask me, hey, pick something for me to build.
Right.
And he's building off of it. So that's perfect. Folks, that is perfect for Lego Masters. That's perfect. If you got a Twitch channel, you got a YouTube channel, and you got interaction with your crowd, and you had the crowd decide what you're going to build on the fly, and you got 30 seconds or a minute to build it, that's perfect. That's really learning your craft. So that's why I said I would pick him to win the whole entire thing because he builds on the fly. If you build on the fly, you're good. If you got something in your library that you can just go to, that makes you a great Lego master.
Techniques stored in there and stuff.
Yeah. Me, I don't have those things. I'm still searching for them.
It's interesting that we're choosing Nick because we know who he is. But we
that's why. That's the only
That's why I
reason.
chose.
I know that there's that's the only thing that's fun for me. It's people about the show. It's if I know who they are, you know what I mean? That's
it also shows that the fandom is bigger than our platforms that we're on, like YouTube, Instagram, and all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting because obviously the casting directors were searching social medias for people.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. On when they flew us out to LA for the first audition, right? It was funny. Me and Jermaine were talking. We get on the elevator. We go up, open the elevator. Boom, there's Rich Boy J. And I'm starstruck. Hey, you're. I couldn't remember the dude's name. That's how bad it was. I couldn't even remember. The dude's probably old enough to be my son, and I couldn't remember his name. And so then after the background investigation and the psychological stuff that they send you through and all that stuff, you finally break off to go to dinner, right? I sit down and Brick and Nick is sitting in front of me. And I'm like, hey man, what's up? So he was supposed to be on season 1. And the only reason why is because he lived in Canada. And I think his girlfriend is from somewhere else. And she had an accent. So they didn't want to look like the Australian. They're trying to do everything not to look like Australia. And so that's the reason why he didn't get on that show. But I'm glad that he applied again. They reached out to him and he applied again and they did him right and brought him on because, you're going to get quality stuff with Nick.
Do you feel that now that there are Lego Masters in North America based on the show, not actual, what we would actually consider a master of Lego, they should represent the company in its values?
Well, Emerald Shine is worldwide, man. They own a lot of TV productions worldwide, stuff that we don't even get to see. They own it, right? So that them condensing 2 continents into a TV show, I think you get more quality. And so, here's what happened. Here's the cause and effect. Cause the AFOL, the American AFOL, the U.S. American AFOL told Lego Masters no. They went up north to go get somebody like you. And that's the honest truth,
That easy.
because the Midwestern, and I think a lot of our talent, now we got talent all around, but I think the core talent of the AFOLs that we know are in the Midwest, right? In the Midwest. So because a lot of the AFOLs told them no, they went up north and got people that would tell them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, but I'm more referring to like Lego themselves. Like, do you think the Lego group, not the producing company, is pleased with how the contestants of Lego Masters conduct themselves personally?
Probably not. Like,
you see where I'm getting with this?
Yeah, probably not.
He's trying to get to a very specific place in a very subtle way.
You have my good friend Sam. I love Sam to death because he's real. Like, if you're real with me, I love you to death. And he's real. He'll tell you what he's thinking, unfiltered. And a lot of his artwork is unfiltered.
Very.
And so his stuff sells out though. Like his artwork is crazy, and he's got like galleries. Like he has galleries that with his artwork in them, and I don't have galleries. I don't, ain't nobody. Even if I posted my stuff up in the gallery, I don't think anybody would come and have wine and cheese and mull over my stuff. They just wouldn't. And so he posted that on social media, and it got shut down quick.
It did.
And
I mean, it was up for like a little bit. I remember because he did hashtag Lego Masters on it.
He did. And I want to tell you that Lego themselves have a lot of lawyers. They look at a lot of social media stuff, and I think they saw that their product was being used in an unfavorable way. And he kind of, I'm gonna tell you, he probably severed ties with doing anything with Lego. Like they probably won't look his way because of that.
Yeah.
Which I understand it. Business is business. You have to have an image because it sells. I get it. But Sam made a choice to go to the dark side, and that's But he's always going to be true to his art, and so you have that.
He's an artist first before a Lego fan. Lego fan second.
Yeah, he was an artist before. Yeah, he was an artist.
Yeah, you're not gonna. There's you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't do the art with all the freedoms of doing art and then be supported by a children's toy company. Right. Like, it's just like,
but Ragsy, let me tell you, Ragsy for me, and I'll tell you the truth, like Ragsy is 50-50 with me. I don't like some of the things she say, but she's a businesswoman. She know how to sell her art. Like she had a lot of commissions, like big name commissions, like real big, like Google, big name commissions. So she's doing something right. If you could spend a couple months down in Miami doing a commission and living it up, you're doing something right. So she's definitely selling herself, and I think her being on that Lego Masters platform had propelled her even further than where she was going. But I don't, the lifestyle she lives, I don't see Lego doing things with her either. Like, because of that image.
Mm-hmm. So because of those two options, and there's many more that we're not going to dive into, but like I got nothing against Sam and Jessica. Like that was my store that the show was getting bricks from. So I was working with the producers. I saw you guys from the very beginning. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm like, Iceman. I even said your name wrong.
Yeah. And Jermaine was like, that shit. I'm like, who
I was doing something with Lego. I forgot what it was. We're showing off. There's a lot of people. I was probably doing a VIP. I forget. But you showed up, and I'm like, Iceman. What? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's Iceberg. And then we shot it up. It was cool and everything. Yeah. And then you brought Boone over because I'm asking, like, what are you doing over here?
Hey, I'm Boone. Everybody know who Boone is.
Yeah.
Like,
I asked him, like, what are you doing here? And in my mind, I'm playing it. I'm like, why would Mel be in LA right now? Yeah. And then you brought Boone, and then he spilled the beans.
Yeah.
He just said, Lego Master, don't tell anybody. I'm like, look, I'm working with the show too. Like, it's cool. We can talk about it. But like, as the weeks progressed, I would see like two of you disappear because you guys came mostly together.
Yeah, the group. Yeah, every Saturday we were hanging at the shop. Yeah.
So it was a pretty tight knit cast, which is pretty cool.
It was.
And then and I remember when you left, it was like a straight up DMs like, hey, we're gonna catch a beer another time. I got X'd. They couldn't even get me on a first class. I'm on a coach. I'm like, or something like that.
That was like they flew me out on Turkey Day, bro. They flew me out on Turkey Day. By the time I got home, and thank God my family was still here. They called ahead and just hung out. And but by the time I got home, it was like 11:30 at night on Turkey Day.
That's
and I had the longest. I had the
cool.
longest. I'm right here by BWI. They dropped me out in DC somewhere, right? So I got to live from DC all the way like up to Baltimore, which is like a good 45 minutes.
That's cold.
They gave me the boot, man. They got me out of there quick in a hurry. Yeah, so it was yeah, man. It was a long ride. Yeah. I heard this, right? I heard that as the contestants were getting voted off, that I think the reality was setting in that like you're possibly not going to see these people ever again in your life, and so like that fun chumminess had stopped. Like it sucked the air out the room from what I heard. It's like, yeah, after you and Jermaine left, things got a little bit dry. Like nobody was joking around no more.
No, it got serious like when the last three were there, and I knew who the last three was. I didn't know who won, but I knew who the last three were because they were there during like the Black Friday week, which I think was like towards the end, or like towards the end of the entire show. So you can see that because Boone's family was there. Jessica was like, every time Jessica comes in the store, she's building something. Like she was working. I got to give it to her for that. Like she this was more than this was. She was playing the game, like seriously. So like,
and she was getting help from all different angles. Like,
yes, definitely. Like, I commend her for that. Same thing with Sam too. Like, I knew Sam because he tried to. I didn't hire Sam. Actually, like, I scheduled him for an interview to work at my store, and then he turned it down because, well, now I knew at the time he Lego Masters. But I remember his resume, and like, I can't recite the things that are on his resume. It's been a while, but like, I remember him just. I'm like, dude, this guy's like really. Like he's an artist,
right?
You know what I mean? So like it makes sense to see those two do what they do as like in a very artistic way that's not confined by the rules of the Lego group.
Yeah,
and it's cool that they don't care.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's like you got to live in that. You got to live. You got to relish in what you're trying to be. Are you trying to be a Lego designer? Then be the Wonder Bread boy, right? Or if you're trying to be an artist, well then be artsy and do some rebel shit. For me, I think for me, like I'll say what I want to say, and like I'll just throw the senses away, and that's why I was like I don't have any ambitions on being a Lego designer. So I mean, if Lego decide, hey, look, we're gonna let you in land, then they let me in land, but I wouldn't mess up an opportunity that was given to me, but. But it is what it is. I still, I still got to live. I love this hobby, but I'm, it's not the end all be all. So I don't, and that's just it. It's like when when you first sign up, they have a psych doctor on there, and they're checking you have to fill out a psych eval, and which is like 300 questions. The last time I did a psych eval was when I was getting ready for the police department. And you fill out a 300 questionnaire. And it's like, when you're done that, okay, great. Here's a 500 one. And they're trying to see if you're going to break. And it's like, they don't want anybody that's going to jump off the deep end. And so, you talk, when you check out, you talk to a doctor, their doctor, and he's making sure that you're all right, that you ain't going to go back to the hotel room and jump out the building. So it's, not everybody's for that. Like, and I heard that, like, even you see in season 3, there's a lot of boo-hoos, like people were actually crying because they were forging relationships with people that didn't know over the show, and it's real cutthroat. It's cutthroat.
Why am I now excited to watch season 3?
You know what?
You just did that.
I'm gonna watch it because I'm a fan. I'm gonna watch it because I'm a fan. But I don't know, man. I'm looking at the cast, and I could tell you who's going to win. I already know who the top 3 is going to be by looking at the cast.
All I'm gonna say is they're not gonna beat Legor.
Oh, Legor. Oh man. I wish snuck some pieces. I wish I had snuck some pieces of Lego. I'd have kept it. You know, here's what you don't know: that me and Jermaine got into an argument on the first day of making Lego. And we got into an argument because in his mind, he thought that 4 foot tall alien was supposed to be done on the first half, because actually down back then you would the first 2 days were production, so you would spend half the time, the first half of the time on the first day, and you spend half the time on the second day building it. And for whatever reason, I think we were just like below the nipples, right? and he freaked out like, oh man, we're way behind. We got into an argument by the bathroom stall, like it was like overlay gore.
The nipples were essential. You had to get the green nips.
They got the green. Hey, Jamie, Brickmaster Jamie loved the green nips, man.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, got some points for that.
Yes.
How are they? Like, how's interacting with those three?
Oh, you know what? And here's my take on it. Never mind trying to win an episode. Never mind trying to be in the top 2 or trying to win the whole thing. To me, it was like a boot camp, right? It was like, I'm building something and I'm getting insights from Lego designers, right? They're telling me, which way to go, what colors go with what, how to build something up. If this ain't stronger, maybe I should use XYZ. And so to me, I'm taking mental notes. I go back to the hotel room and I write that stuff down. Because in the future, after the show's over with, I'm going to build some epic stuff and I'm going to use these tips, along the way. Right. And so to me, it was like a boot camp. They were great, man. They were very receptive, and they let you know, hey, look, you made a poor choice. You should have did this instead, or you should have listened to us and did this, so working with them was great, man. And I hear that like now they're like, if I talked to season 2, I talked to some folks from season 3, and the relationships that they have with them are a little bit more closer, because in season 1 we weren't allowed to talk to him. They kept him totally separated from you. Ain't supposed to have no interaction, only on camera. That was it. So you really never got to know Amy or Jane. You just didn't, unless what you knew of.
Oh, that kind of sucks. Do you think it's because of COVID? They were forced to be.
This is before the COVID. This is we were in LA, man. This is way before COVID.
No, I'm saying because the cast for season 2 and 3 have to worry about that bubble of exposure. Yeah. So like they're kind of they can't really talk, but they can't really go anywhere. You know what I mean? Kind of and plus they kind of rushed all the, because I remember I saw you guys every weekend. These guys kept recording once first episode's done. It's Thursday.
You rolling on the next one. You on a Saturday, you keep rolling. We get Saturdays off. Nope.
Yeah, and it wasn't being filmed in California, so they didn't have the California work laws that they would have in Atlanta or right? So there's a lot of big things that were different from that, which it's good or bad. You got to explore. You got to see LA burn.
Yeah, man.
Got to see California fire.
On the first day, dude. Like on the first day, I'm in the hotel. Check this out, Ninja. I'm in the hotel, and the first day was like the longest because I just got in from the East Coast. So now, we're like 3 hours back, So it's a little bit later, right? And so like you're spending the whole day at the studio. They're going through your wardrobe. You're taking all these shots and doing all this stuff. They're throwing makeup on you, take shots and stuff like that. And then you go, by the time you go back to the hotel, it's like 10 o'clock at night, right? You can't go to your room. They want you down in the conference room. And that's when we met like Amy and Jamie. So, I never told this to Corey, but that's my dude. But he was asking like a lot of questions, man. And it was late. It was super late. And my man had like 11 questions, and it was just like nonstop. I was like, man, this dude asked one more question, man. I'm just wild out. I'm trying to get into bed, man. I'm tired. Cause now at this point, it's like almost like 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So by the time I get to the room, it's like midnight. So now it's really like 4 o'clock on the Eastern, right? So I go to lay down, my phone ring. I'm thinking it's somebody from back home. It's Jermaine. I answer the phone, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? He goes, you seeing this right now? I said, my dude, I'm seeing the back of my eyelids right now. What are you talking about? Man, there's a fire across the street. I said, across the street? Yeah, man, check it out, man. It's a whole building. It's engulfed. Okay.
Dang.
I go over there, and he was right. It was a tall building. It was engulfed in flames. I'm not a firefighter, but this building was like 30 blocks away. I said, hang up this phone right now. No, man, what if it come over here? I said, if it comes over here, they gonna bother you like you bother me. They're either gonna call you or knock on your door and let you know to get out because the building's on fire. Good night.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Call me when
California.
the fire gets here. Don't call me because it's up there.
Right. That thing was like 30 blocks away, bro. I'm like, look, I'm not a firefighter. Even if it was across the street, what am I gonna do?
Nice.
Just get on the building. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna end it here because that was a good one to end on. Even though you don't feel that you represent, you do. So represent.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And we appreciate you. Hope to have you on here again. Do we have any final words before we do call it a day?
No, but I want to hear like Mel's like commentary like live during like season 3.
Oh yes.
But I want it to be like
Okay.
unfiltered, unfamily friendly, just like straight up.
The raw talk.
Yeah, you need to do that like you did in
Yeah.
your season.
I need to do that. Yeah, but like in short format content, like a reel, just like boom, 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 like because that's like I don't even care what goes on in the episode. I just want to know your opinions on it.
Yeah.
That's good content. That's good content ideas.
Good content. Yeah. All right.
There you go. You got ideas, bro. Is there anything you want to plug before we call it?
Oh man, I'm going to Brick World Chicago, so like if anybody going up there, I'll see you. Come rock with your boy, man. You get your stuff for free with me.
I owe you a beer. I owe you a beer because we didn't get to drink when you were here.
Yeah, that's right.
So we need a drink.
All right, we go do the Chicago thing, man. Pizza and beer.
All right, guys.
Dang,
Well,
okay.
with that being said, thank you, Mel, for joining us. Roll that music. Peace. Thanks, bro. That was good.
Yeah, man, that's cool. We got a good group, man. Good content, man. I like it. It's tough to find a good group to chat it up with, man. It's tough.